All right, welcome everyone to the Compliance Trestle issue review. Today is September 16th. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded and will be shared publicly on our YouTube channel to promote transparency and accountability. Your participation in these meetings is an agreement to abide by the OSCAL-Compass Code of Conduct, which can be found in the community repository. And Alejandro, I just wanted to let you know that we just briefly discussed that we're going to cut this short at the 30-minute mark because Vikas and I have other calls.
Sure.
All right, I'll go down to the bottom here. I actually think we do have quite a few issues to look at, so I'll go ahead and look at the new stuff. And hopefully we can use this new tab in the project to let us know what's new. Oh, there's quite a lot there. Okay. So you guys can see this pane, right? Just making sure. Okay. I think this issue might be a little bit on the older side, but it never got triaged properly.
Sure.
So it just seems like a bug. I'm trying to determine how simple it would be to fix. Do either?
But 1 minute. Yeah. So it says minus and looks for the name of the catalog, whereas it says it's the directory. But I believe the name and directory are the same. The way it is when you create a catalog, right? The directory name corresponds to the name of the actual catalog that you are giving. So I don't understand this first point.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So this is how it's intended to work, because under catalogs, the directory name.
Yeah, because when I import a catalog or create a catalog, if I give a name, that name is used to create the directory under the catalogs, right?
Right, and this is the same for all the models, like system security plan.
Yes, exactly. So the name of the model, the specific name that I'm giving to catalog or profile or component definition, that corresponds to the name of the directory.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
And the command only works for the catalog file name. So, and that is intended, right? So within that directory, by default, the JSON file is called catalog.json.
Right. Okay.
So maybe the person who is this? Yeah, he has not understood the usage of this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was from Dihao, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we have a won't fix. And then we can just explain why in the comment. Maybe
actually it's not about won't fix, right? The issue is wrong basically. So I don't know. Do we have something like this is not a correct bug or issue, whatever they have tried to raise? Won't fix means there is an issue, but we are not going to fix it, right?
Yeah, I mean, the description is this won't be worked on, but I do get what you're saying. Like the language there might mean that it's a valid bug.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe we need a different.
Maybe we need a different tag, for this. This is not a valid. It's not a valid.
Not a valid issue, right?
Issue or bug or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So for now, I think we could think up a different label, but maybe for now I could just put something in the comment.
Yeah, I believe just say that the description, the documentation is correct. The name of the model that is catalog is the same as the directory name, and within that directory, the default file is catalog.json. That's the way it is intended to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then I think we could just come back and label this
Yep.
later and kind of determine what a good one should be. So these are all labeled. I'm thinking that this might just be an error that they're in here, or they weren't moved to the next place. So I'll just ignore these for now. This I think might be finished.
This was done, I believe. Can you just see in? Let me just check whether we have that SSP demo in OSCAL-Compass now. Just a minute.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
That repo should have been moved by now. Where is OSCAL-Compass? Is it really? SSP. Compliance Trestle SSP demo. It is there in OSCAL-Compass. Yeah, so we can close that.
Okay. It looks like there was a couple additional criteria. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark this as in progress.
So
Because I
demo is
don't know.
moved, then minimum CNCF updates, footers, copyright. Oh, okay. Yeah, these things need to be completed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll
Yeah.
just at least move it in progress
Yeah.
and they can move it on. Okay. Looks like this one's a newer one.
Validation minus T flag.
Hmm. Do you have to merge, do the merge command before you do validation again?
Exactly, because I believe it will not validate on the partial thing. I have to read the documentation. It may be true.
Okay. I'll just mark this as investigation then. I think we have something for that.
Yeah, I could take an investigation on this one and verify if it's
Excellent. Yeah.
if it needs the merge command before.
Awesome. Let me see.
Sure.
Yep. Cool. And then, so the investigation will happen in this milestone, but that doesn't mean we'll add it to the milestone, I'm guessing. So. Okay. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Lou has already submitted a pull request for this.
Update.
Yeah, yeah. I think well, I provided some feedback and Lou answered back. I
But it is not
think as
merged yet.
well.
Yeah.
No, it's not merged yet.
Okay, I'll put this in review then.
Yeah.
Okay. And a new one from Chris. Oh, it's part of this larger enhancements. I was.
Yeah.
You probably just marked this as, since I believe when we read it, the Epic, we were all in agreement on the items there. So I can just mark this as ready. And this might be the same situation.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe it's related to the documentation website.
Okay, awesome. All right, I can probably just go back and, so we can review other ones. They're all related to the same thing. I can just go back and do those. Okay. So it seems the rest of them are related. So maybe we'll go back to Trestle. Take a look at the milestone. If you guys think we're ready to move on. Was there anything you wanted to go back and look at in the new stage?
So all the new issues would appear here, right? In the triage automatically?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, because last meeting I had realized, oh, I'm a little unsure of what's new and what's not. So everything that's new will have the new status, and then once we're like, okay, this is ready or this is a real issue, we'll just move it to the ready status and it'll disappear from here.
Okay. Okay.
All right, let's to the milestone.
Yeah,
Hey, Manjari.
Hi, I had a question then.
Yeah.
So next time when we look at the table, since we have now already triaged some of the issues, would they still appear new or would they won't have the new status?
So for anything that we just triaged that we talked about, I moved them to in progress or in review. And so the next time we look, they should be gone. So only the things with a new status, which when an issue is added to the project, it automatically has the new status, so we can go look at it there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to check.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So we have two issues here. This issue is, there's a PR in it, and I believe Vikas and Alejandro have approved it. I plan on merging it today, just after like a quick double check of the functionality again. So it looks like, let me see what the date of the September 30th. I think we're on track to release on the 30th, but I wanted to ask if there's any other issues that we should be adding to the milestone. I know there's been a few that may have like sneaked through recently without getting added to the milestone, like documentation wise.
We can add this one, the validation one. Well, it's an investigation right now whether if it requires fixing, then we'll have to see how much effort this would be. If it doesn't require fixing, then obviously we can close it immediately. But
yeah, I'll look to this between this week.
okay.
Probably having the investigation ready between tomorrow and Wednesday, so we can determine if included or not, if needed to fix.
Okay.
Okay, so I just marked it as ready, as in ready for investigation at this point then.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Perfect.
Let's see if there was anything else, because I don't know do you all think that it's worth even adding the documentation to the milestone, or do you think maybe we stick?
Let's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Seems like a lot of overhead. It might be easier to stick to actual enhancements to the
Right.
functionality. Okay. So then it might be easier if I just go by enhancement.
Enhancement or bug fixes or what?
Oh, yeah. Or bugs. Oh, darn, it did enhancement and bug. We'll have to look one at a time, I think. So I think we still have the one epic to expand the markdown editing capabilities to the non-control driven
Content.
Yeah. So we still have this one for the responsible roles in the metadata, which should be, I think, smaller, but we do have this large issue to break down. I think this could get pretty big. So I didn't know if we wanted to go maybe back and forth on the feature set that we think might be a result of this and work on that breakdown. It's assigned to the next cycle, which begins on the 22nd.
So first we'll have to agree on the design, right? How do we plan to add the additional information to the markdown, right? And once we agree, then different content can be done in separate issues, right? Because there may be lots of content, so all cannot be done at once. So we can add one by one, whatever is more important first, right?
Right.
But the design should be ready, right? This is how we are going to add non-control content to markdown files, or this is how we are going to edit non-control content in markdown file. So are we clear on the design, or that is under discussion? I would probably look at this.
Yeah, I think it's under discussion. I kind of added an initial idea, and then Ryan built on top of that. But I do think it could use more discussion from the group.
Yeah, so let's discuss this in a meeting, and if Chris is there, he can also put his ideas. That would be great. I'll also go through this issue, which is 1617, and see what are my thoughts on this.
Okay, sounds good. I will put an action item. Maybe we can talk about it at the next community meeting. Okay. Here, it might be easier if we look at bug fixes then. They might be a little bit more straightforward since we only have a little bit of time. Okay. This one I think is documentation, so we don't have to worry about this. I'm already doing. These Trestle tasks bugs might be pretty straightforward to do. Just looking at a couple of them here.
Trestle, what it says, Trestle task manager and see an error for the fact it's not coordinated. Without the Trestle project root, most of the Trestle CLIs, they operate on the directory structure, right? Repository structure. So do we really need this? I'm not very clear.
Yeah, I mean, so this is just listing out the tasks, and you have to be in a Trestle root, valid root to do that. But if I'm thinking about it, it might not be that straightforward to fix, right? Because the root command does the validation.
Yeah, see, because the way the Trestle tasks are implemented, right? There is a hierarchy. There is a base Trestle task command which checks for root directory for all the tasks, right? Whether it is initialize, well, init, and there was another 2 commands, if I remember correctly. It was long back, for which there was a special handling, because when you're doing an initialize, right, at that time you don't have the root setup anyway, right? So Trestle task init would be an exception, and there was one more command where the root was not required. Maybe -l can be added there. We will have to see if it can be handled easily. It may be, or it may be a bit of work to really make it Trestle init or Trestle task init. Do you remember, Jen, whether it is Trestle task init or Trestle init to set up the repository structure? I'm just.
It's Trestle init.
Okay, Trestle init. Maybe then Trestle task -l and Trestle. But we'll have to look at the documentation whether task has the, whether to run the task command we need to have the Trestle init or the repository Trestle repository in place. If yes, then it makes sense to have that. If not, then probably we'll have to relax the condition.
Okay.
Let me, which is this issue? What's the number?
Oh, it is
1641. Let me look at this also. I will probably look at that.
okay. And then with the last 5 minutes, I was thinking we could talk a little bit about, where is it? You know, I think it got relabeled as an enhancement, the one thing I wanted to ask about. Yeah, okay. This isn't something that I was planning on addressing in the milestone, because I'm not sure what the level of effort is. But I just wanted to ask about the functionality of rules and what is supported or intended to be supported when you have a change in what controls the rule is linked to. Because I haven't seen that sort of update, or when I try to, if I have a rule that's existing already and it's linked to, like, say, AC2, and I'm like, oh, I want this to cover AC3 for some reason. And I try to redo the transformation and then have that reflected in my markdown, that update, I don't see that reflected. Or if I want to change the description of the rule, I can't change it in markdown because it's supposed to be read only there, but I can't change it in the CSV either, if that makes sense.
No, so if you change in the CSV and convert that to JSON, will the JSON have that rule mapping to AC3 or not? Is that happening or not?
It does, and then I believe once I assemble back, because it doesn't get reflected in the markdown, that changes.
No, no. So you'll have to first generate. So the process is when you convert CSV to JSON and then JSON to markdown, right? So you'll do CSV to CD and then you'll do Trestle author generate command, right? To generate the markdowns, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
At that point, you're saying AC3 does not have that rule, correct?
Right.
Because it was not originally there when the markdown was generated, and it is not adding it now.
Right. And the only changes that I've seen get propagated to markdown after it's originally written are parameter changes to the rules.
Not to the body, basically. So you're saying body doesn't get updated, only the header part gets updated.
Right.
Yeah, because updating, we'll have to think, right? This updation is possible, right? Because you are adding a new rule. So there is no loss of information when you add this rule to the markdown. it will not result in any loss of information.
Mhm.
But suppose you have map that rule to AC2 and AC3. Now you don't map it to one of the controls, say AC3. Then it may result in a loss of information. So AC3 would, because you're removing the rule and maybe the corresponding, if there is some implementation description which is added, then that has to be also go away, right?
Right. So, well, I guess not now with the change in logic. I don't believe it would go away
Okay,
now.
because even if you don't have the rule, you still have the implementation description, right? So
Right.
we can allow adding of the rules, but I don't know how simple is the implementation.
Yeah, I'm not sure that this would be very simple. I just wanted to check that it's kind of like what you thought about the functionality before I even tried it, honestly.
Yes, it should be allowed because these are valid additions, deletions to the rules, updates to the CSV file, right? The rule to control mapping, these are valid things that would be happening.
Right.
So we should allow updating the markdown. Because if we regenerate the markdown from fresh, all the uh, content that we have written in markdown would go away, right? Because if we overwrite, then all the existing content would go away, correct?
Right, exactly. And so that's exactly what I didn't want to happen.
Yes. So we will have to allow this insertion or deletion of rules in the markdown. That has to be supported.
Yeah. Okay.
But that maybe we can add that as a separate issue, because that may not be a simple task. It will take some effort to do that, because we'll have to see that all the things are consistent when we do that addition and deletion. It may not be very difficult, but yeah, we'll have to just ensure the things are getting written out properly. Yeah.
Right. I can I had unassigned myself because I wasn't sure if we should do this, but I can assign myself, I can mark it as investigation and kind of see what the level of effort would be to implement this and do a bit more testing.
Yeah.
But I think we're at time. I've captured the action items that we've talked about, and I can go and update those additional issues. So thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.